As an Omega, I got pregnant. I overheard someone asking Mason, "Sir, what should we do if someone in prison gets pregnant?" I was just about to plead with him, but Mason said coldly, "People in here don't deserve to have children." In that moment, all hope drained from me. Mason happened to look up from his desk and caught sight of me. "What's wrong? Did you need something?" he asked. I shook my head and went back to my room, but couldn't stop myself from throwing up. After I was released from prison, I was still visibly pregnant, trying to navigate around others carefully. Mason looked at me, his eyes red. "Whose child is it?" "One." I was locked up in what was known as the most dangerous prison in S City. I was innocent, but my family had collapsed, and I was tossed in there with them. On my first day, I was on my knees at Mason's feet. He was flipping through my file as I trembled. "Your scent is Snow Lotus." His voice was cold and crisp, like ice clinking in a glass, pleasant to hear, and his face looked almost godlike. I flinched and covered my scent glands. I hadn't even released any pheromones. In the shared cell, everyone seemed terrified of Mason. Rumor had it no one left his ward unscathed, except for me, who behaved well and hadn't been beaten. "You look so sweet and innocent. Don't tell me that cold-blooded tyrant has taken a liking to you. That prisoner behind you got cocky and ended up with both legs broken, even had his fingernails ripped out. For real? That's insane." Thinking back on Mason's icy gaze made me shiver. But that very night, trouble found me. Because of my bold looks, someone tried to lay their hands on me and even drugged me. I screamed like crazy, the lights in the corridor flickering on and off. Mason appeared. He looked down at everything with disdain. I immediately grabbed his pants leg and begged, "Warden, please help me." He took me to his office. Mason was unmoved, and I bit my lip as my pheromones grew stronger in the air. Finally, he looked up with his usual calm expression and said, "Come here." I crawled over, sobbing. "Warden, please mark me. 2. After that, I broke into a sweat multiple times. Mason pressed against the back of my neck, biting into my glands so many times that my spine tingled. The next morning, I was too lazy to get up and looked at him. "Warden, can I take the day off?" Mason was already dressed formally, sitting upright, but he didn't refuse me. After a pause, he said, "Okay. Dinner was awful last night. I'm starving, could I have something to eat?" I tried to seize the opportunity. I'm the illegitimate child of my family, so I've learned how to read people and ask for what I want. Mason said nothing, but not long after, someone brought in food. Buttered eggs, steak, a beef sandwich, and a steaming cup of milk. 3 days later, during group training, I noticed everyone giving me strange looks. "Did you hear? The guy who tried to assault you is actually someone with serious power outside. Even in prison, he was a top dog. The warden took him out himself. No one dared mess with me after that. Until one day, the food on the table was just slop. I couldn't stand it anymore. So I made the choice to become Mason's canary. I started pleasing him every day, and he marked me again and again. Until recently. I began to feel constantly hungry, and a close friend found out. I was pregnant. "Sir, what should we do if someone in prison gets pregnant?" Mason's expression was cold. "People here don't deserve to have children." My heart turned to ice. Mason looked up from his desk again and saw me. "What's wrong? Did you come for something?" I shook my head and returned to my room, but couldn't stop vomiting. That night, Mason hugged me from behind, his voice soft and low. "Baby." But fear still gripped me. Even though we were close physically, it didn't mean he had truly accepted me. "Not today. I can't." Mason lowered his eyes, then gently nibbled on my earlobe. "Did I scare you? But rules are rules. I don't allow pregnancies in this prison. These people have had their personal rights revoked." I nodded, but my heart sank. "What if it's yours?" "First of all, I don't allow it. Second, even if it were mine, it would still be dealt with according to the rules. My face went pale. Mason narrowed his eyes. I knew I couldn't let him suspect anything. I forced myself to speak. Someday, I'd like to give you a child. I don't like trouble. Be good. Stay in line. Mason gently stroked the back of my head, but I was trembling. What was I even hoping for? I was nothing more than a plaything. 3. The next day, my friend asked me, "Did you talk to Mason? There's a batch of inmates who might get early release soon. If you tell him you're pregnant, maybe Mason will go easy on you and let you out." My eyes turned red. I was about to speak when I saw another newcomer being let in. He walked behind Mason, and Mason didn't even glance my way. The newcomer looked a bit like me. As he passed, the pale-skinned Omega deliberately knocked over my food tray. Tomato sauce splattered all over my clothes. I stared at the boy. "Warden." I set down my spoon, speaking in a sweet, aggrieved tone, looking at Mason. But he completely ignored me and led the boy away. Everyone in the room turned their eyes on me like hungry wolves. I'd already made plenty of enemies in here. Without Mason's protection. Was Mason really going to cast me aside? And the child in my belly? I didn't dare think about it. When Mason called me in, I didn't act like I usually did to please him. He explained, "There's nothing going on between me and him. Don't believe the rumors. Yesterday, there was a reason. In my heart, you're still the most important." He pulled me into his arms, sat me on his lap, and looked at me with tender eyes. He leaned on my shoulder, taking in my scent deeply. His long, elegant fingers gently caressed my waist. "Why don't you call me husband anymore? Jealous?" Mason teased, placing my hand on his throat, his voice seductive. "Be good. I want to hear you say it." Just as I softened, the boy suddenly pushed the door open. Mason turned to him, and in the next second, he glared coldly at me. "Go back." I kicked Mason hard and wiped away my tears. 4. That night, Mason didn't call me to his office. By morning, everyone already knew, the new inmate was Mason's first love. Did you guys hear? That pretty Omega from yesterday, Jacob, is actually the warden's fiancé. They used to be a thing. Bet Mason only treated Henry well because he looked like him. Right? Henry's so arrogant. When those two rekindle their flame, he's going to get crushed. And then we'll. Their disgusting laughter made my stomach churn, and I started shaking. Jacob moved in with the warden last night. With someone like him, he'll probably be out of here in no time. Say, do you think being pregnant can get you early release? You forgot already? That federal inmate tried to escape by getting pregnant. They shot her on the spot. Took the baby out, too. I was even more afraid to reveal that I was pregnant. But if Jacob got pregnant, that'd be different. His fiancée would take care of him. If he had a kid, the whole city would probably throw a banquet. Some people though, even if they had a baby, it'd just be discarded like trash. My friend noticed I looked upset and tried to comfort me. Don't feel bad. The warden still cares about you. I shook my head and clenched my fists, patting his shoulder. To keep my face from looking too sour, I took a deep breath. Don't worry about it. Mason and I are just using each other. Besides, he's honestly not that great in bed. I faked it every time. Truth is, I don't like him at all. I'm just playing the game. Just as I finished, I noticed my friend's face turn pale. 0023. Mason's cool voice echoed through the room. My spoon clattered to the floor. Here. Pick it up. I stepped out of line and crouched to pick up the spoon. Suddenly, Mason's boot pressed down on my hand. He looked down at me. 0023, come with me. His expression was cold. I followed him in, and he slammed the door shut. He pinned me against the wall, biting into my scent gland again, hand slipping under my clothes to stroke my shoulder blades. My scalp tingled. Mason started undoing my buttons. "Mason, what are you doing? It's broad daylight." His voice was hoarse as he kissed my neck, his sharp nose brushing against my collarbone. "It's not like this is new." Thinking of what he might have done with Jacob last night, I pushed him away. "Don't touch me." Mason's eyes darkened. He slammed me onto the desk. I suddenly remembered the way he interrogated prisoners, how bloody and brutal it was. He once cracked a table edge with a whip. I was scared. Mason sensed it immediately. "Baby, are you scared of me?" He looked at me, eyes flickering with a trace of hurt. I lowered my head, avoiding his gaze, something that only made him more furious. His hand clutched my waist, his eyes reddened, his face full of stubbornness. "Henry, say that again. You think I'm not good enough?" He bit my ear, slid his fingers into my mouth, his eyes hazy. "Then teach me, Henry. Tell me how I can please you." "Mason, let go of me. I don't feel well. I don't want you touching me." I bit down on the web between his thumb and index finger, but he just looked at me in silence. "Playing games?" Mason's fingers tangled in my hair, tilting my chin up to kiss me deeply. "Were you faking it every time, even when you were trembling? You say you don't like me." He stroked the back of my neck with icy fingers, pinching my ear. "Then why are you reacting like this now? Why is your scent so strong?" I bit my lip, but couldn't stop my ears from turning red. His alpha pheromones had put me into heat, my body had learned to depend on them. "If you really don't like me, I swear I won't ever touch you again." Even as he said that, he bit down deep on my gland, clearly resisting the urge to mark me again. My body craved the comfort of his pheromones, I could barely swallow. Mason looked down, face cold as ever. No matter how intense things got in bed, he always looked distant. I could only soften my tone, tugging at the hem of his shirt. "I was wrong. I do have feelings for you. Please, mark me." Mason froze. Then he cupped my face, pressing a gentle kiss to my eyelid like it was the sweetest thing in the world. 6. Mason pulled me into his arms, his hand holding my chest tightly. His body was warm. I curled up against him and asked seriously, "Mason, can't you be with someone else instead?" The baby was getting bigger. I wouldn't be able to hide it much longer. When that day came, knowing Mason's ruthless nature, he'd probably just watch coldly as I was strapped to an operating table. Now that his first love was back, how could he possibly care about me? They were both well-known figures in S-City. Only Jacob's child could be considered a true heir. I had to disappear from Mason's sight. If I got the abortion quietly, no one would notice. There are plenty of attractive people in here, not just me. Look, Jacob's here now. Even if you want to try something new. I started counting on my fingers. There are a bunch of people who'd gladly say yes. Mason's eyes darkened, his voice low and heavy. "You're dreaming." He bit my gland again. I ended up weak and dazed, stuck in bed for 3 days. During that time, he stayed by my side, rubbing my stomach and taking care of me himself. 7. Mason started calling me to his office more and more often. Usually, when he wasn't around. I checked the files for the early release list 8 months later. My name wasn't there, but Jacob's was. A sour feeling welled up in my chest. So Mason really just saw me as a toy. Rules and standards didn't matter to him when it came to true love, but I wasn't worth his effort. I had sensed this for a while, but seeing it laid out clearly still stung. Mason wasn't the alpha for me. While I was eating, I noticed those prisoners who had talked about me last time had burnt lips. Serves them right for messing with Jacob's lover. One younger guy across the table timidly asked, "Bro, Mason's an S-rank alpha. How did you get him to be with you? I'm so jealous." I smiled and asked, "You like Mason?" He nodded shyly, ears red, and I had an idea. It was Mason's sensitive period. When Mason summoned me, I snuck in a younger prisoner from my batch. Mason usually doesn't change partners easily. At least Mason had kept me around for 2 years. Work hard and get him, so I can take a break. The new guy gave me a look like, don't forget me if you get rich. But less than a minute later, the door was kicked open, and the guy was thrown to the ground. Mason clenched his teeth, eyes red, glaring at me as he pulled me inside. Henry, explain. Bro, he's the one I introduced to you. My eyes misted over as I stared at Mason, saying, after all, someone's willing to be with you, so don't humiliate me. He barely touched Jacob but kept touching me. Please stop, I don't want to come here anymore. Mason's grip on my arms suddenly tightened, and he bit down hard on my scent gland. I cried out, my legs going weak as electricity shot through my spine and muscles. His voice was cold. Henry, watch closely, this is humiliation. My ear turned red from the sting. Mason pinned me to the table and handcuffed me. His hands started undoing my clothes, while that other guy lay on the ground. Mason never allowed us to be intimate in front of others, and he hated gossip. Anyone who made dirty jokes got punished badly. I couldn't bear the mental torture of others watching, especially with the door wide open and many eyes sneaking glances. I started trembling, begging. Mason, don't, not here, people are watching. So what? His hand pressed on my collarbone as he stared into my eyes. I finally admitted defeat, tears welling up. Mason, I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Let him go, Mason, please. I stammered, and Mason finally held me gently, cradling my head, telling the others to leave and shut the door. Baby's being stubborn. Don't want me, huh? Why give me away so easily? Mason's anger was terrifying. Only then did I realize he had been holding back before. I could only soothe him over and over again. The next day, Mason gently held me and wiped sweat from my forehead. He slowly lowered his head, eyes full of deep affection. As long as you behave and don't leave me, I'll do anything for you. He knelt at my feet, helping me put on my shoes. Then let me out. I want to leave here. Mason paused. Not yet. I thought, probably never. The day Mason went on a business trip. Several inmates planned to escape. A friend asked me, are you really leaving? Getting caught escaping is serious. Go. I grabbed his sleeve tightly and ran away under the cover of night. After release, my belly grew bigger every day. Mason stayed in prison, probably wouldn't come out. Some of the guys who got out with me stuck close, chasing me. I stayed in my room, messaging them to bring me supplies. One day, while Fishpond number 1 was kneeling to help me put on shoes, Mason stepped out from the shadows. Henry, come kneel. I looked up in disbelief, stumbling to run. Mason, how did you get here? I trembled. Fishpond number 1 froze under Mason's glare and was pinned by his men. Henry, I'm more than just that identity. I can come out too. But Mason forced me down on my knees and stroked my belly. His eyes flashed with unwillingness and torment. I feared he'd try to take the baby. Who's the father? His voice trembled at the end. Was it his? But he was about to marry Jacob, who had been released. News from S City said Jacob was a famous dancer, delicate and pure, perfect for him. If the baby was from prison, Mason would definitely abort it. Mason's gaze burned with hatred, scanning those pinned on the ground and stomping one with his foot. The man screamed in pain, blood seeping from his palm. I clung to Mason's leg. It's not him, it's not him. Please don't hurt him. Mason's eyes flickered with jealousy as his men grabbed the man. His voice was cold. Attempting escape adds extra charges. He's going back to prison for punishment. Mason sneered, wiped my mouth, eyes sharp. He looked at the nearby supplies and the cozy little room and said, Henry, you're something else. But with me, you'd even accept those people? His face was full of hatred, I could feel his low energy. He touched my scent gland, clean now, and softened a bit. Did they touch you? Speak. No, it was all voluntary. At least I'd survived all these years intact. Besides, they don't dare contact others. I promised. I'll think about new relationships after the baby is born. Mason stared at me. Running wasn't an option. Staying wasn't either. The real question was, what would Mason do? Desperate, I said. Mason, don't kill me. The baby in my belly is precious. His dad is an important man. The father is really looking forward to the baby. You better not harm it. Mason's eyes turned blood red, and I heard his teeth clench. 8. A big shot. Mason gripped my jaw, his tone dark. Who is it? I hadn't prepared a lie, so I just said. I can't say. Mason's expression hardened. Not willing to tell. Sooner or later, you'll have to. He pulled me into his car. While washing my hands on the way, I overheard Mason's men talking. Why are they sending Henry somewhere else, not back to prison? Oh, apparently the warden's fiancé isn't well and needs some kind of treatment match. If not, they would have punished him on the spot. In all these years, never seen a prisoner escape punishment just by having kids with the warden. He's bold, keeping close to the warden and still hoping for favors. After surgery, he's probably in a bad way. My head felt foggy. Mason really treated me like a big gift for Jacob. What surprised me most was that Mason sent me to his villa. Maybe for easier swapping later, but I wasn't happy about it. The doctor will be here soon. Mason looked down at me. I'd just gotten car sick and thrown up. Mason squatted to wipe my mouth. Who's the father? When I didn't answer, his face turned icy cold. You think staying silent will keep this child? I'll terminate it. My eyes stung, but Mason remained calm and firm. No. Mason, if you touch me, it'll kill me. The baby's 8 months along. I deliberately left out a month. Mason's hand trembled. If it's that far along, if I die, you won't benefit either. If you insist on surgery, then I might as well die. Honestly, I'd thought about abortion before, but the doctor said I might never conceive again. I softened. I wanted to give birth. I was so lonely and wanted someone to stay with me. Henry, you can have the baby, but once born, it has to be given away. Mason's voice carried a trace of sadness. 9. No. I was about to argue when Mason smashed the tool in his hand. Shards scattered across the floor. Mason approached me, eyes full of aggression. Henry, don't push your luck. Allowing you to keep the child is already a concession. From today, don't even think about leaving. Right, I was still useful after all. But... Mason, can you promise you won't harm my child? Once born, nothing can go wrong because I care deeply. Mason's hand kept squeezing the metal piece, cutting his skin. Blood flowed as his face grew darker. Henry, do you have no heart? Anyone can catch your attention? Mason wasn't one for talk about affection, he only had his family at first. And I wasn't suited for that either. Yes, my feelings have always been cheap. Whoever's kind to me, I like. He mocked me, and I accepted it. But honestly, I loved Mason's scent. I stubbornly said, except you, anyone else is fine. I saw Mason's chest rise sharply. After all this time, it was the first time I saw him so emotionally shaken. His face showed an indescribable mix of displeasure, unwillingness, loss of control. And maybe a bit of hurt. Mason's eyes trembled. He crouched down, held my face, and bit my scent gland. Even after all this time, Mason's pine resin scent still made my legs weak. I hadn't been exposed to scent like this for a long time, and my body tingled. But this time it stung too much, making my heart race. No. You started this, you have to deal with it. Mason pressed down on me again, biting my gland. On the first day, you said you'd respect me. I changed my mind. He took my palm and held it to his cheek. Who told you to tease me over and over? You can't escape now. My heart ached, my eyes stung. Why did Mason still have to mark me? I was so lightheaded, drooling on my clothes. I leaned close to his side, touching his cool skin to ease the discomfort. Mason held me tight, but I still bit his throat. His scent was too strong, I couldn't think straight. Henry, why? He muttered, his eyes red with anger, anyone but me. 10. The next day, Mason left. He didn't want to say much, only that he was transferred. The food was good, balanced and nutritious. Maybe it was to keep me healthy, so I could be better for Jacob. While I was painting, Jacob sat across from me. Hard to believe you're still here. Yeah, because of you. Jacob's face reddened, his eyes full of jealousy. I wondered why he was jealous. Didn't Mason give all the real benefits to him? Does Mason know what kind of person you are? He pulled out a file. Does he know about this? I glanced. It was a photo of me being sent to another man's bed by my horrible father. But I escaped in the end, though no one else knew. Actually, my father didn't just send me away once. I escaped every time but was beaten half to death. So prison didn't affect me much. The difference was, with Mason, I wanted to climb up willingly. So? Jacob went on. Don't think Mason kept you in prison for so long because he likes you. Mason is obsessive about cleanliness. You're reckless outside and pregnant. If he knew how careless you were, do you think he'd keep you? I couldn't help but laugh, coughing. Apparently, Jacob knew nothing. I stayed for Mason's sake. He seemed to believe Mason loved me. I revealed my gland, still scented with Mason's pheromones. Jacob, no matter what I'm like, Mason won't mind. He's always liked me. I saw the anger on Jacob's face. If I stay here one more day, Mason won't love you. Unless you get rid of me. Jacob agreed, he really wanted me gone. Luckily, Mason was busy with work and away on business. On the day I escaped hidden in the garbage truck, I returned to my old home to pack. Jacob threw me a pair of scissors, eyes full of hate. Mess up that face. Otherwise, don't leave. Without a word, I sliced open my skin. 11. 3 years later, I was holding Leo in a peaceful, sunny place. I saw the news from City S and was surprised. Mason and Jacob's wedding was cancelled. Maybe because I ran away, Jacob lost all his resources. Also, a batch of prisoners was released, including me. Since they fell, finally justice was served. But suddenly, my photos and story went viral online. People said those powerful families once tried to send me off to their homes, and everyone was curious. Yet the posts disappeared the next day. I suspected Mason did it. After all, we had a thing, and he didn't want bad publicity. Leo's eyes were exactly like Mason's, and his face was similar too. But education resources in Town F were poor, so I just held him close and taught him beyond school textbooks. Thankfully, Leo was very smart and beautiful. Some suggested sending him to the big city as a child model. The old lady next door muttered, "Your looks are average, but your child is so handsome." Though the scars on my face had mostly healed, leaving only faint marks. I could never truly disfigure myself. I'm good at pretending, those wounds only looked scary. Every time I went out, I dressed up carefully but added a few fake scars to look ugly on purpose. Luckily, Leo never minded his dad's looks. Showing my face was risky, I was still a fugitive and easy to recognize. And I didn't know how Mason would treat me. At night, I often slept very restlessly. Leo would hold me, his small soft hands making me feel grounded. His grape-like eyes, a bit dark inside, always left me dazed for a while. One day, while buying discounted supplies for Leo, I accidentally lost a watch. It was the one I had deliberately asked Mason for in prison. Because I disliked Jacob and wanted some privileges, even if the watch wasn't allowed. Leo found it while rummaging today and asked, "Is this Daddy's?" I casually put it in my pocket and didn't realize it was missing later. It's just a watch, after all. 12. At dinner, the old lady's son next door came over to mooch again. Leo really disliked him. Even after I told him 100 times that his real father abandoned him, Leo stubbornly said, "I like Dad, and Dad will like you too." I told Leo to be kind to his uncle, though I wondered why the guy kept showing up when I looked like this. Leo had school stuff, and the neighbor's son came to see me. "Look, I'm older than you, and I'm like this, what are you doing? Kids shouldn't see this. Bro, even though your face isn't great, your eyes are nice, and you're easy to be with." He handed me a plate of garlic scape fried rice and said, "Bro." Just as he was about to get closer, a loud crash shook the wall. I saw Mason get out of his car. He just stared at me and took slow steps forward. How could this be? I hurried to cover my cheek. No, this wasn't the pretty face anymore. "Hello, who are you?" I pretended to be confused. "Henry." As soon as he spoke, my heart stopped. My heart was pounding. Why would he come here? What happened to your face? Mason's eyes were swirling with emotions I couldn't read. Was it pain? Do you have business here? The neighbor's son instinctively grabbed Mason's arm. Don't ask. Don't provoke him. Henry, who is he? Mason's voice was low and angry as he pulled me into the car. The neighbor's son rushed over to stop me, but Mason just looked coldly. Mason. I whispered softly as Mason moved his neck. I have nothing to do with him. Don't lose control here. Mason was indifferent, speaking to the driver. Drive. His stubborn lips pressed tightly, and he bit my gland again. Henry, don't you ever learn? You care about everyone else, but not me. You hate me so much that for years you'd rather hide away than face me. His face rubbed my neck, his voice hoarse. What did I do to deserve this treatment? Mason started licking my neck, asking me to kiss him. Mason, are you here to arrest me? But I'm innocent now, they all fell. Jacob probably had surgery years ago. Why else are you here? Mason said. I'm here for you. 13. Honestly, I was rebellious deep down and a bit confused. So I cautiously asked. Why are you looking for me? Is it because you like me? Do you still care? I couldn't believe it. But online they say I didn't just mess with you, but with other families too. Let me count. Chen family's eldest son and Henry. Mason pressed his lips on mine, stopping me. I don't mind your past, but once you know me, it's only me. I like you. Mason said softly, his hand gentle on the back of my neck, warm like honey. A gentle current flowed through me, waking my senses. My heart felt strange, filled with Mason's scent and words, like soft cotton candy. My eyes swelled oddly, but I felt happy. But didn't you take me in at first just to use my body for Jacob's surgery? Mason stood up, seeming surprised. When did I ever do it for Jacob? You and your men said it was to provide a kidney or something for Jacob. Mason's eyes were both angry and gentle. That was their guess. I never wanted others to know I cared about you. And now? Everything's settled. Mason looked at me affectionately and said. Henry, you're actually part of their family. You were born first and were supposed to be betrothed to me. But you died at birth, so it went to Jacob. Your foster father faked your death to spite your real father for not supporting him, making him think his child was lost. So he raised you for revenge. Besides that, I was investigating and found your foster father colluding with many people, doing dirty things, which led to his imprisonment. When I saw your records and age, I got suspicious. You were the first person I met because I only saw Jacob in photos. When you came to prison, you pitifully begged me to mark you. Do you know how long I held back before speaking? You teased me several times. I knew I had to have you. You're the one I've chosen. My mind overloaded with information and crashed. Then, why didn't you tell me? Because your family is dangerous too. Your foster father and others conspired to frame Jacob and hide him in prison. Your real family overseas entrusted them with you. There are eyes in prison, so I protected Jacob and didn't want you involved. So, I'm actually their family. I suddenly felt wronged. No wonder Ethan never taught me anything but how to be a flirt when I was little, always hitting or scolding me. Mason's eyes softened with pity as he kissed my forehead. From now on, I love you. Who did this to your face? He gently touched my cheek. I quickly wiped it. It's fake, makeup. But Jacob really slashed my face once. With scissors, a big cut. Look closely, there's still a tiny scar. I tried to show him. Honey, say something. He was actually my biological brother, but I still felt sad. I didn't enjoy anything and was hated by my brother for this. What? Didn't you say you loved me? I made his face like this too. An eye for an eye. Mason looked serious. I thought about it. Forget it. Mason shook his head and pressed my palm. I'll make things right for you. 14. Mason kissed me, making my palm go soft. His eyes were misty. Guess it was time. I said. Go pick up the kid. Mason twitched, his expression clearly disappointed. Henry, can we have kids someday? My body can only have one child. Pain flickered in Mason's eyes, but he held it back. Your child, I'll love too. Of course, you will. The car slowed to a stop. Mason didn't get out. I bought a small gift for Leo at a street stall. Dad. Leo spotted me and hugged my leg right away. But his sharp eyes suddenly noticed the kiss mark on my collarbone. Phew, not too bad. Dad, who bullied you? I glanced back at the car, silent for a long moment. Mason opened the door and immediately held Leo in his arms. The little guy froze and looked up at Mason. Father? Mason held Leo close and looked at me. You kept this from me since prison. Henry, why didn't you tell me it was mine? I was afraid. I wasn't sure of your love, or my place, so I lied. I held a pinwheel, which spun softly in the gentle breeze. Mason took my hand in his other one. From now on, feel it well. I won't let you suffer anymore. Leo's face brightened, then twisted with worry. Dad, you don't like Father, right? Should we leave? He started trying to pull Mason away, wanting to jump down and leave. From now, we can try to get along. Mason grabbed my shoulder, his eyes raw and honest. Don't like him? Will you like him later? What else are you hiding from me? That night, I whispered in Mason's ear. I only have you. You're the only one who's marked me. I soon regretted those words. Mason had been so excited these days, the doctor said his emotional levels were off the charts. I could tell. After Mason fully healed my face, he took me home to meet my biological parents, tears streaming down their faces. He sent Jacob to receive his punishment, nearly beat him half to death, but Jacob eventually admitted his fault. Brother, I'm sorry. Mason said to me, whether it's meeting family or marrying you, I'll give you everything you deserve. Leo and Mason seemed connected by blood and got along really well. Mason kissed me under the tree.